Hello and welcome to What the Hey. Thank you for joining me to learn the answer to a question that I received, and when I go to my notebook I see that the question is written as what the hey is hyperpop, and this question comes from Raluga2579, so hello to you, sorry if I said your username wrong, and thank you very much for the question. So in terms of a very basic answer to this question, at least from my own perspective, I would say that hyperpop is a music technique or category that kind of mixes different tempos, lyrics, and different music genres to create like energetic and dynamic sounds. So from the get-go, I would say that this question is kind of hard to answer because if you asked like multiple hyperpop music creators, I would say that all of their answers to this question would probably be a little bit different. So for this video, what I'm going to be doing is kind of listing techniques and general information that most people agree on, but as always, I link the information that I found and videos that I found explaining this topic in greater depth, so if you need any of that, that will be in the description. So with starting to answer this question, something that I always like to do is include a little bit of history, and with hyperpop, the actual like coined general term for it wasn't really started and kind of established until like the mid 2010s. Like there was some kind of article that was written describing like a group and their music, but what we consider hyperpop now wasn't really what it was when it was kind of first labeled. So hyperpop as a category of music has essentially been inspired and evolved from other genres of music, like most music usually is. So if I had to list different genres of music that have kind of inspired pop, I would definitely obviously say that pop music is pretty high up there. But then you've got stuff like electronic, hip-hop, dance music, J-pop, internet culture, kind of 8-bit music, and stuff like dubstep that have kind of all made like what hyperpop is now. You've also got different genres of music that have grown from hyperpop, so they're kind of like extensions of it, where it's like glitchcore, digicore, hypermandaleo, dariacore, and nightcore, which some of those you could like argue created hyperpop, but they're all kind of related in a way. Something I really wanted to include very briefly anyways is the fact that hyperpop is one of those fun categories of music where you can make in your own home. Some of the music making programs that you can use to create stuff like hyperpop range from like Audacity, Logic Pro, GarageBand, and Waveform, so if you want to try to make some hyperpop yourself, there are options. Now this kind of goes back to the early and brief history section of this video, but in terms of where it kind of started in terms of like its community, a lot of it grew from SoundCloud, which SoundCloud itself, if you're unaware of what it is basically like a music uploading and sharing and critiquing website. So there have been a lot of hyperpop artists that have uploaded their music there, and then they get feedback on it, and then they can share more, and it's like a continuous great cycle. Some people trace hyperpop back to a Spotify playlist that was created in 2019, but that's not exactly when it started. That's just where a lot of music was like organized for it. But once again, hyperpop is not a definite like category, so you just kind of have to listen to it and get an idea of what you think it sounds like. Now, if hyperpop is new to you, I did want to mention some like pretty notable artists that have created hyperpop music. Once again, it's not a definite like genre of music, so all of these people kind of create similar but different stuff, but I did want to list some artists if you want to find some and kind of hear what they do. So in terms of some names you've maybe heard of, there's people like Sophie, Charlie XCX, Cook, 100 Gex, Glaive, Glitchgum, Black Winter Wells, and David Shouty that are pretty well known for like their hyperpop music. And if you so choose to listen to any of those artists or some just general hyperpop music, I did want to list some like general and kind of repetitive techniques that most of these songs contain. And these are just some words that I saw most websites and interviews use to kind of describe what it sounds like in general. Some people say it sounds like postmodern, it sounds like dystopian, or it kind of just sounds like it's pushed to the extreme, like it's really random, but at the same time, it's kind of consistent. And while doing my research, I was listening to a lot of hyperpop just to get a general better idea of the actual answer to this question. Most of the techniques that I noticed were like there was overblown bass, so it's usually pretty loud. There's like high-pitched vocals. There's a lot of glitch sound effects, or it sounds like it's glitching in the music. There's distorted vocals, whether they're kind of like switched, made higher, lower, or they just don't sound like natural at all. And then usually there's some kind of like just general compression and distortion to the music. So in terms of my general opinions about hyperpop, I would say that it's a music genre without a genre. Like kind of what I've been saying the whole time is that hyperpop isn't consistent between every artist and song that you listen to. It may have a general and kind of similar sound to it, but none of it is the same. Like you could put a bunch of hyperpop songs in a playlist, but they're not gonna really sound the same. So is hyperpop a genre? I would say it's more so like a subcategory. What I really like about hyperpop is that it's kind of based around web culture and like internet kind of music. It's very early 2000s, like mid 2010s. Like if you look at some of the album covers and like thumbnails for hyperpop songs, a lot of them have like early anime thumbnails, and it's all kind of very chaotic, but it's very fun, and in general, it's very creative. If you would like a more descriptive and in-depth answer to this question, Noah Simon on YouTube has a really good long series about hyperpop, and they have a lot of interviews with a lot of famous like hyperpop creators. So if you want something that's more so detailed than any of this, I would definitely recommend that, and I'll have it linked in the description so that's there for you. And in general, while hyperpop isn't like my favorite like music to listen to, I grew up listening to a lot of like vaporwave and nightcore, so when I listen to hyperpop, that's what it like reminds me of, so it's very nostalgic for me. But that's essentially the answer to the question, and once again, I'll have links to the information that I found to answer this question in the description, so you can read more on that if you want to, but I believe that is it, so thank you very much for watching. Bye.